human. Sometimes you just have to like give into feeling like a potato.
The designer doesn't care about height, he just wants very thin models.
I now know that I should not judge any profession because you truly never really know what's going on behind the scenes. Good morning! Let's talk about a topic today that's really close to my heart. But first, I'm craving some coffee, so let's make a cup of coffee. Modeling is a really fun job because you can be whatever you want and whoever you want, and you get to try out a lot of new things. But the definition of the job is basically being a clothes hanger for fashion that needs to be sold, or something that makes an object look more approachable and more valuable that also needs to be sold. So basically you're always a pretty accessory objects or fashion or even destinations for tourism or boats, you know, whatever. They just put you there and you've got to make it look more valuable. So this is not a personal job unless you're Gigi or Bella Hadid that gets booked because their image might add value to the product they sell and make it more marketable. If you're not on that level of being famous or known for modeling, you will not have jobs that are about you, which seems easy enough to understand and which seems like something that's easy to do, but in reality a lot of those things feel very personal. But a lot of the reasons you don't get booked for or you get declined from both jobs, clients and agencies is because of something that in any other environment would be very personal. Because you get faced with the things you don't want to get faced with pretty much every single day when you're working. People straight up tell you your insecurities in your face. So I literally had incidences that one made me question if I should really do this job, and it was just like 2 weeks ago, and I'm gonna tell you all about those stories today. Oh my gosh, I got sucked in by an Instagram ad and I'm really lucky because they're actually so cute. Like, aren't they so cute? I'm gonna meet a friend now who's also in a modeling agency, and she has some tea to tell you guys too. So I was invited to a casting, or they told me it's a fitting. It turned out to be a casting at this huge 3-story super luxurious dress store where one dress is $15,000. I'm not kidding. I was like, ooh, this is a different world than the world I'm used to. And it was with 3 other girls, so we were 4 in total. We took turns in trying on one dress, and then we had to do like 3 poses, and then the second thing we had to do was walking. And the first girl started, she was before me, she did fine, and the CEO, who was a woman, she came during the first girl's walkway thing. I was the second one to go. I got dressed behind some curtains, and I had 4 lovely ladies assisting me and putting on the dress because it was heavy and like a big dress. We talked in Korean, so everyone in this room heard me speak Korean. I opened the curtain and I came out like, you know, like, I'm the princess. She looked at me, and within a millisecond I knew it was not what she wanted, which is fine. It's like, that's not personal. She just saw me in the dress and something in her mind didn't add to the concept she had like in mind. That's not personal. I still did the posing. I was not as confident because I kind of already got the vibe that I'm not it, so I think I might. That's what my mind was at. I'm not sure if it showed, but I was already kind of like, dang it. And then I wanted to step down and do the walking part of the casting, and then she loudly in front of everyone in this room told her in Korean, her assistant said, yeah, no, she's not it, she can change right away, like, no, don't let her walk. And in front of everyone, that was something that I was like, oh, okay.
But you obviously understood, and she knew that.
Yeah, and she knew, like, she talked in a really impolite voice, so it was like, it felt personal. It wasn't, but it felt personal. And then the girl after me, she was the next one to dress up. She was blonde, really pretty girl. The curtains opened and the CEO loved her. 180-degree change in behavior. First it was cold, she was like, no. And then I was like, oh my god, you look so pretty. And then she asked her if she could untie her hair because, like, I love your hair. Like, it's not personal, but just the concept is like long hair and So she treated this girl so differently than she treated me just because she fit the image she had in her head. And for me, sitting there, who just got literally punched in the face.
She literally turned into evil stepmother for you. From Cinderella to evil stepmother.
Yeah. And this is the first time ever someone really openly kind of like disrespected me in this way, in this profession, that it was really like something that stuck in my mind for some time. And I was like, should I really work in this environment? If this is how the people behave that have money. I was like, do I really want to work with this kind of people for life? Like for making a living?
From experience, usually the bigger brands, the whole process is a lot more clinical. And the smaller brands are still on the ground.
Yeah, more for the like people.
Yeah.
Something happens like this and you're at a point where you're not in the best mind space, this hurts.
Well, let's be honest, no one likes rejection, right? And especially if you like so like on the silver tablet, like she said it knowing that everyone would hear it and everyone would understand it. She could have just let you walk those 10 seconds and then, made her decisions instead of being like,
And it hit really close to my heart because it was a time where I was not confident because of a lot of other private matters. I had so much in my mind, so much going on. That's a whole nother story time, by the way.
Oh my God.
I felt especially personal.
Understandably.
Yeah, because she was proving me right. Like she was proving my bad thoughts right, which I hated. And which now, after some time has passed, I know that she was not in the right, and my thoughts at that time were also there because of other reasons, and not because I was doing bad, but just because sometimes we're all human. Sometimes you just have to like give into feeling like a potato for weeks, like a potato. Even in the modeling industry, a lot of people feel like potatoes most of the time.
It's fine. It's produced, it's acting, like you don't know what's going on behind that, and it's totally fine. Everyone has their problems, so.
Not to you.
Not to me.
With the lovely dry dead plant behind us.
It's like the tea was too hot. I couldn't survive.
It just died. It was like
fainted. I also had quite a funny situation. Now it's funny. At the moment it wasn't very funny for me. I am not sample size, right? So
Korean sample size is crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The majority of Koreans or people living in Korea do not fit the sample size.
I got the request from a brand like for more long evening gown, something fancy, for events. Mind you, it was through an agency that had my portfolio, my com card, had an introduction video, had everything they needed to know, and they got asked by a designer to cast models for them. So this agency invited me to a pre-show interview, just to like get the scope. Have you done stuff like this? Because it wasn't a photo shoot, it was a fashion show, so I would have had to walk actually, and for a few days. So yeah, I arrived there and I was the first one there. Everyone else was late. So I arrived there first, then the manager, and we already talked a little bit. And then he goes like, "What's your dress size?" I'm like, "Yeah, this and this size." But you should know that because he was from the agency that I sent. I obviously didn't say you should know that, right? But no. But like in my mind, I was like, you should know that. You have my introduction video, my com card, my portfolio with all the information.
The com card has every single measurement.
Like in inches or centimeter, like from all the parts.
From all the parts.
from head to toe, everything in there. And I told him, he was like, oh yeah, maybe I think the dresses won't fit. And I was like, okay. He was like, yeah, the designer asked for very thin models because the dresses are extra small. And I was like, you have my measurements. I'm going then.
So basically, they had your information. They could have just looked it up, but they didn't, and then they made you come to the meeting to tell you, oh, oops.
For an hour, I just had to sit there because he bought me a coffee. So, well, at least I got a free coffee out of it. But it's just, it's so ridiculous. Like you have my information. You know I'm not sample size, and if the designer, which also is very ridiculous, he was like, the designer doesn't care about height, he just wants very thin models and loves. And I was just there like, you've got all my measurements, why did you like take away my time to ask me to come to a meeting where you knew I would get the job? It's like, yeah, that was very disappointing because I also thought that, wow, for once there's like a size including brand here in Korea, which is quite rarely, to be honest. So I was happy and excited about it. I like to wear fancy dresses, you know, and have a limit in my portfolio. But yeah, nope, failure.
Could prepare and they could know what's going on. I mean, I guess it happens. Another friend of ours had a similar incident. If you break it down, it was the same problem, right? It's just, yeah, it's just because something that maybe you don't want to hear in front of other models, or you know, like. It's nothing to be ashamed about because you have a great body. Like you are healthy and like you're doing great. You're working out. You eat well. It's not because you're like a lazy. You know, you're doing you. You're doing you, and that's like. I think our bodies are made to fit our bodies.
Like, yeah, clothes meant to fit our bodies, not our bodies the clothes.
And if they want girls that literally are unhealthy looking and thin. That's problematic, and that's a lot in the fashion industry. Like a lot of people are like this. But
yeah, just be aware if you're in this business. It's like you have to have a strong mindset.
Yeah. Or
Because
also,
even with a strong mindset, you might waver. It's like the amount of times you get like backhanded compliments or like pity comments about like, oh, do you really want to eat that now? We're gonna shoot soon. Do you like, oh, you don't look like your pictures, you're like this and this, you know? It's like always like this. But it's, obviously we're telling the negative sides out for the entertainment value, so don't take like 100% is all bad. We have so many good stories and so many good experiences, which is also great. So it's not always black. There's some white in there, some sparkles.
100%.
So tiny. Tiny.
He's looking at me. So my verdict is modeling is not easy. It is definitely not the hardest job in the world. It's definitely not a job where you have as much responsibility as a doctor, but it is mentally and emotionally challenging for everyone. There is a lot of agencies and people that are really, really nice in this industry. I just want to put that out there. Not everyone is problematic. Being in this industry taught me a lot of things. I now know that I should not judge any profession because you truly never really know what's going on behind the scenes until you actually live it. I totally underestimated modeling, and I didn't have a glorified picture of it in my head to begin with. So there is just things you cannot predict. It's still a really fun job. I still love doing it. It's great. It's really different from anything else I've ever done. I do have a degree, which I'm not working in anymore. It helped me grow as a person. I know the things I will do for this job, and I also know the things that I won't. I'm really interested to see what else this whole adventure has in store for me. I think in this job you either grow or you quit. There's no in between. To anyone out there who wants to do this job, do it. Everyone has different experiences, everyone has different opinions. If this is something you want to do, find out for yourself. Yeah, I love you with all of my heart, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!